Hey guys, I'm Janet on occasion, and today we are playing another Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. It's amazing how many, like, twins and brothers there are in here. God, I feel sorry for their mothers. It's like the plot of Saving Private Ryan. Anyway, so there's stuff happening. I'm Bretonnia. I'm against the Empire, and we're in a desert. I'm not sure how this happened. I think we all got a bit lost and very angry. Maybe it's a mirage. Maybe we both think we're fighting beastmen. I don't know. Anyway, I have King Leoncoeur. Leoncoeur, there we go. And yeah, he's really badass. I love this guy. He's great against the Empire. I think he's really good. He just packs an awful wallop. He's got great sort of utility as well. So he has the Lion Shield, which will stop him from getting blasted to pieces by cannons. And he also has the Sword of Quran, which will lower melee defense and armor of things nearby, which really helps sort of the Grail Knights that don't have a huge amount of AP to really succeed and kill elite stuff, which is nice. Also, you know, Stand Your Ground is a classic, and yeah, he's just generally very nice. He's got some good things. He can terrify, which is good, because there's a lot of things with relatively low leadership. There's a lot of, you know, cheap things like spearmen that he can just run into and terrify away straight away. So that's fun. So my front line is all spearmen at arms and men at arms. So spearmen at arms with shields on the outside, and in the middle just a load of men at arms. I just needed some fodder. They can do alright against state troops. You know, not great, but not terrible either. But they are backed up by the Holy Wardens of Le Mazantal, which is nice. So these guys will pack more wallop, be some better damage dealers. You know, good foil for these guys that are just going to take the hits for them. Also, a Damsel of Life, so some life, you know, wizardry going on, which is nice. Regrowth, Flesh to Stone, which is really handy for putting armor up in the front line, which is good. Earthblood, obviously, it's just very nice to have her. Also, I have some spare spearmen in the back. Also, 3 Grail Knights. I have 3 Grail Knights. Yeah, that's a lot of Grail Knights. That is very, very scary indeed. Also, way over here, I have 2 mounted yeoman archers. These guys are going to be great for harassing artillery, and I'm able to sneak them in from the back. My opponent here, as you can see, God, this map is really cool, isn't it? I mean, you know, it's quite boring in terms of gameplay because it's mostly flat, but still, it's very cool to look at. Anyway, enough about that. A few weird ones with this one. So it's Karl Franz, great, Boris Todbringer, which is great. So he can regenerate just like King Lewin can, which is really good. That is nice to have, that regeneration. He also, you know, has the blood roar and everything. He's going to be very, very scary to deal with. He's going to be able to do the same things Lewin can, just jump in the front line, terrify everything away, and do a ton of damage. So that's pretty cool. Also, he has a load of free company militia, which will be good for killing my front line, weirdly. He's been quite lucky. I have a very unarmored, unshielded front line because I wasn't expecting a load of cheap fire to be able to get them. So free company should do well here. But the armor piercing, you know, the lack of isn't going to help against all the knights. Also, he has artillery. So, you know, you think, oh yeah, definitely bring artillery because of all the knights. But no, they're mortars, which is really strange that he's brought extra support to deal with the infantry when Boris can basically just jump in and terrify infantry all day. So a couple of mortars is strange. Cannons would be so much more useful here, I think. But anyway, he's got a couple of mortars, so my infantry are going to be in trouble. He also has the silver bullets, which will be very nice. It'll negate the physical resistance of Grail Knights. They can get some real work done. He also has Sterling's Revenge, so these guys will have armor piercing, so that's kind of nice. His front line, he has Sigmar's Sons that are unbreakable, which is nice to be able to guard his Sterling's Revenge with something unbreakable. And he has a load of swordsmen and spearmen in the front line, which is all pretty good. He also has a Shadow Wizard. Shadow Wizard is going to be great. Grey Wizard, obviously, you know, Lord of Shadows. He's going to do a wonderful job. I love this guy. Enfeebling Foe and Malkulths are both super, super useful. But the creme de la creme here has a steam tank. I think a steam tank is great in this matchup, weirdly. The guns will be able to do a ton of work killing knights, and they have so much armor that knights can't really punch through it very well. So they can actually be very survivable, especially backed up with things like Enfeebling Foe on the thing that's trying to attack it. Steam tanks get a lot of work done in this matchup, and that terror is also super useful in the absence of a Grail Reliquary, so it's pretty great. So, speeding things up. So straight away, Lewin's running in. I don't care about the guns. I don't care for them. He's going to charge in like a lunatic. He's being Malkuth to slow him down, and my yeomen are coming around the back to deal with his artillery. Over here, taking some fire on the Grail Knights, but not really. It's all good. All the knights are fine, because it's mortars, you know. So, you can see Lewin has taken a ton of damage. Enfeebling Foe, which is going to limit the ability for him to kill the wizard, but not by a huge amount. The wizard is, yeah, he's not going to have the defense, really. So, taking out the spellcaster really nice and early is fantastic. That is really great for me. And now, all my knights are able to muck up everything. So, just having the mounted yeoman running in being a pain, it meant that Leoncoeur was safe. So now I can get a regrowth on him, and he's going to get all of his health back, and I can just keep Boris running around like a lunatic. So he's trying to deal with the mounted yeomen. They were able to, you know, cause some mischief, which is good. Oh, he does have Pistoliers as well, which Outriders would have been better to kill the Knights, but Pistoliers, I think they just kill unarmored things. It's he has a lot of non-AP damage here, which is very peculiar. So unfortunately, the Grey Wizard is back, which is a shame. But I got some good damage on him early, and I caused such disarray. You can see all the guns are facing the wrong way. I was able to sneak in my Grail Knights in that side. This side, I'm able to get around. I managed to get Spearmen right into his free company there. I got some more Spearmen that did rout and are coming back. Over here, I have a weird amount of units just fighting this one unit Spearman. That's a mistake. But I'm busy back here. There's a lot to do. So I'm trying to shut down these free company. These guys aren't Outriders, so they don't have the armor piercing. They're not going to do a huge amount. But an enfeebling foe has landed the Grail Knights, which will help, you know, just the crappy free company get some hits in. So that's something. He, of course, has the steam tank firing at my mounted yeoman archers, which, again, is a mistake. He really needs to make sure that he's got his free company firing at things like the mounted yeoman archers, and he's got his steam tank shooting at Grail Knights. So, a bit of a miscalculation there. So over here, I charge in, because I decided to go for the Grey Wizard again, knowing that that Boris would chase me, and I had Grail Knights nearby. So now, what is actually me trying to kill his Grey Wizard has Boris pinned down, which is very fun. So I baited him into into landing while taking out something valuable and be able to stop him from doing the damage that he was hoping to do, which is pretty textbook. I love using a Lord as bait because I was able to get so much value out of this. Boris almost broke. He does have Spearman though, backing him up, which is a shame. I could have done without that. And now I've freed up a load of my infantry, so these guys will move forwards eventually. The steam tank, I've got the Grail Knights trying to fight it, but these Grail Knights have actually been very, very injured. Same with these ones. They've both taken a lot of punishment over the course of this battle. I've been very frivolous with them, to be honest. Just hitting everything and with little regard for their safety, to be honest. But it let me catch out a lot of valuable units. So here now the steam tank is surrounded, and of course King Lou and Leonka does have the armor piercing to be able to deal with the steam tank, which is very nice. The steam tank only has 10 melee defense. So it can go up pretty steeply if he gets any chevrons, but he hasn't been fighting he hasn't been shooting at Grail Knights, so he hasn't got the value there. So anyway, here you can see Boris is trying to come in support of his infantry, which is a good shout. He can terrify things away pretty quickly, but of course I have more Grail Knights. I have Grail Knights everywhere. You can't move for Grail Knights in this match. So over there you see Pistoliers. I don't know what caught them out in the end, but, you know, they got dealt with. Here, you know, I've got Spearmen at Arms chasing things away. It's just letting people do what they want, really. Here, Mounted Yeoman Archers making sure the Stern's Revenge don't come back. Steam Tank still taking a lot of punishment, not able to get those really effective cannon shots into my Grail Knights. Speaking of Grail Knights, I have even more Grail Knights running in to try and deal with Boris, and everything else is starting to shatter. So, and Boris shatters. So now it's just the steam tank. Just got to kill the steam tank now. So do I kill it, or does he just back out? Maybe he just backs out. There we go. Close victory. And that's multiplayer. To get close victory is pretty ridiculous. Sometimes you win very convincingly and it says Pyrrhic. So yeah, that was a shame. So here you can see 8 kills for the Grail Knights. Obviously MVPs here getting 8 whole kills. No, these guys were the ones that, you know, pretty much killed Boris and were fighting the steam tank, so they did a ton of damage. They managed to get 2 chevrons. All of my guys earned 2 chevrons. Those only got 8 kills and earned 2, compared to this guy that killed 203 and got 2. So, you know, you can really tell the difference in quality of what they were attacking here. But they all did a fine job. They all did great. They had plenty of models. My life caster is able to keep him alive. My front line was just able to hit his, and all of his good damage dealers got wrapped up, you know? A ton of kills for the mortars, sure, but that's just against infantry that he could have killed somehow. I'm actually not sure. See, a lot of these things are great in concept, but are sort of downgraded versions of things that would have been more effective. So, yeah, you do need to make your money stretch, but I think he made a few miscalculations here, because Pistoliers have almost no use in this matchup. I just don't see them performing. Sure, they can, you know, harass Grail Knights and things, but without the armor piercing, you're barely going to make a dent. So they're rarely going to get any work done. They might kill some peasants, but you don't really need something that mobile to kill peasants. Just more units of swordsmen would be able to kill most of the front line of Bretonnia. So, you know, you don't really need it. I don't think the Pistoliers really have a place here. Also, the Free Company, they're very short range, and they don't have armor piercing. So sure, they can shoot into some peasants, but most of the time people bring an entirely shielded front line. I mean, most of my guys had shields, so you're not getting value out of that. There's nothing expensive enough that these guys can really capitalize on. So again, you're probably better off just with more swordsmen or something that'll, you know, more spearmen that'll survive in melee a little bit longer and be cheaper, because the guns aren't really going to get you much value. Stern's Revenge, yeah, they're armor piercing. Silver bullets, yep, those are great. But if you just had a couple more spearmen to guard these guys, maybe they wouldn't have been overrun. They'd be able to kill more knights. These guys, these mortars should be cannons if you're going to have them. Frankly, with the steam tank, you don't really need 2 mortars, just have 1. cannon, and then you've got 2 cannons, essentially. Well, I guess 4, technically. Anyway, so you have 1 unit of cannons that can shoot at 1 unit of Grail Knights. You've got a steam tank that's shooting others. You have the steam tank near the front line. Terror is going to hit these guys, so the front line will survive better because the things that they're fighting is going to keep running away, and they can move and remaneuver and recharge different units. So suddenly the steam tank gets more value because it's nearer the front line. That terror is able to cause effect while you're just using the guns to kill the expensive things. Boris, I think, is a really good shout. I think Boris is great in this matchup. You know, just having him be able to heal himself is good, because Bretonnia has a lot of very scary things like Grail Knights and King Lewin that you really don't want to be messing with. So having someone that can be in the air, but also regenerate, so he can come in, do some work, and then get out of there. If he does get caught once or twice, it's fine. He can still regenerate. You don't have to worry about having a life mage. And the Grey Wizard obviously isn't a life mage, but is super useful. You know, Melkoth, great for slowing things down and getting some damage in. It's really good at whittling away, you know, Grail Knights and slowing down their charges, so you don't have as, you know, impactful charges. And Enfeebling Foe stops them being able to get a lot of work done in prolonged combat, so you can bog them down with something good. But there was nothing really to bog down stuff here. It's a bit of a weird mix of units. So interesting in concept, but I think the things that are most punchy have been downgraded into things that aren't as punchy, if you know what I mean. Which you may not, but you might. So it's a bit of a weird one. So yeah, you need cannons. I think mortars aren't really going to cut it in this matchup. It's too easy to get on top of them, and they're not going to do too much damage before you get on top of them. Sure, they killed some peasants, but 50 peasants is not worth the price of a mortar. It's just not, you know, that's just science. So yeah, I mean, cool stuff. I think Steam Tank, definitely a good call against Bretonnia. I really like that. It's like a niche pick. Has a lot of uses in this matchup, but and also very survivable in this matchup. So I think that's a really cool idea. But I think some of the other things were slightly lacking in enough punch. He didn't have the damage dealers, really. He just had a lot of stuff that was average, I suppose. He didn't have a lot of stuff that could really kill things like Grail Knights. Even just a load of Knights of the Realm, I think, could have got through most of this stuff pretty happily. So it made it tough. It made it very tough. So sometimes trying to go too wide doesn't serve you. Sometimes you do need some elite things, just to make sure you tick the boxes, basically. I mean, 1 unit of greatswords in here, and he could have killed my entire front line, provided I didn't attack him with Grail Knights. So, you know, which obviously I was going to do, but still, you know, that's every game, right? There's always a rock, paper, scissors thing going on. You just have to try and stop them from doing that. So anyway, I've rambled on enough, but I hope this was a good sort of education for you guys. You know, there's a few things that look good on paper, but you've got to make sure that you've got enough punch in your army. You've got to have your defensive units and your damage dealers, and yeah, and I think he just failed to bring damage dealers, I think. So yeah, be very aware of making sure you have enough armor piercing in your army, and make sure that you're targeting the most expensive thing, the thing that's going to cause you the most harm, because my word, these guys caused a lot of harm. So now I'm done. I'm done now. Okay, brilliant. So guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have a good day.